Hey guys, Rick Stone here from the blog Our Stoney Acres and the online gardening school. Welcome to 5-Minute Fridays, where I try and give you a valuable gardening tip in 5 minutes or less. Before we get started this week, just a quick reminder to subscribe to my YouTube channel, and also if you're following this on Facebook, make sure that you like my Stoney Acres page. Okay, so you can see we're out in the garden again this week, and we are going to be talking about harvesting onions this week. So my thoughts on when to harvest your onions are a little bit different than kind of some of the conventional thinking. Normally, people will tell you that you harvest your onions as soon as the tops fall over. And you can see in my bed here that the tops have fallen over, but I actually like to wait a little bit longer and give it some more time. I found that my tops fall over fairly early in my area. Part of that has to do with wind and the varieties that I grow, but I have found that after the tops have fallen over, my onions will continue to size up. They'll continue to get some growth, and so I want to go ahead and leave them once those tops have fallen over for at least 2 or 3 weeks. This year I've been a little busy, and so it's actually about a month after those tops fell over, and I'm just now getting to harvesting those onions. The other thing that I want you to remember is I want those tops to not only have fallen over, but I want them to start yellowing out. I want the onions to start pulling the energy out of those leaves into the bulbs. That helps to make a much longer storing bulb and a better tasting bulb, I think, in my opinion, as well. So as you can see, and we'll do some cutaway video here too, I wait quite a long time after those tops have fallen over so that most of my tops has really started to dry. I feel like that helps the curing process and just makes for a better overall onion. So I wait quite a bit longer. It's almost the 1st of September and I'm just now harvesting my onions. So I think that that's one of the key things that I want to teach you, is that you can wait a lot longer than you think to harvest those onions. Now, harvesting the onions themselves is definitely not rocket science. When I'm harvesting, the only really thing you need to worry about is being careful with the bulbs. You don't want to damage the bulbs at all. So I actually just kind of go through and do them one at a time. It's easy to do when they're in a bed like this. If you've got a big long row, it might be easier for you to use a digging fork or a shovel. But the thing that you want to do is just loosen up that soil around the onion and kind of dig it out. And I don't want you pulling on the tops, especially if you've waited a long time for those tops to wither. I don't want you pulling them because I don't want you separating that onion. Again, once these are curing, we want the onion to be able to pull the energy out of those leaves. And so if you're yanking on those tops, you're going to damage your onion bulbs. And then you also need to be careful that as you're harvesting, that you don't damage the onion in any way, because a damaged onion is not going to store. So if you happen to damage an onion while you're harvesting, you need to eat that one right away. There's nothing wrong with it, obviously, but you need to eat it right away because they're not going to store for very long. Okay, and then the last step in harvesting your onions is to let them cure. So here's a cutaway. I have a little screen that I built specifically for this purpose that I put between 2 sawhorses in my garage, and I let my onions sit on that screen for at least 3 weeks. You want them to cure, you want the tops to completely dry out. An easy way to know if your onions are ready and have cured properly is to cut the top off about a ½ inch to 1 inch above the onion. If there's any moisture left in that top around that neck, then the onions are not cured, they're not ready, and you need to let them go for probably another week or so. But once that top has dried, then I just go ahead and cut off the roots, trim those off, they'll be dry too, and then I trim the top off to about a ½ inch above. Now, you're not growing grocery store onions, and so you don't want them to look pretty. You want to leave all of this extra dry skin and everything on when you're storing them. So make sure that you don't clean all of that off. You can do that when you're ready to eat them. But just get them, store them in a mesh bag, and I like to store my onions somewhere that is consistently below about 45 degrees. The longer that you can keep them at about 45 to 40 degrees, the better and the longer they're going to last. So, look for a place in a garage that's not going to freeze, or if you don't have that option, then put them in the basement. and just try to get them in a cool, dark place for as long as you can. All right, that's it for this week. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up if you liked it, and then also make sure that you subscribe to my YouTube channel and that you like my Stoney Acres Facebook page. I've left a couple of resources, again, down in the comment section, a couple of different posts on the blog about growing onions, and one in particular about storing them and how to store them and cure them so that they'll last for that 6 to 10 month period. So both of those are down in the links below, and then there's of course another coupon for you for the online gardening school, 25% off any course in the online gardening school. That link will also be in the descriptions for you as well. If you have any questions or comments, please go ahead and leave those in the comment section. I try to reply to all of my questions and make sure that I follow up with those. So if you have any questions down there, just please go ahead and ask. Okay, that's it for this week. Everybody have a great week and happy gardening.